I am, like I said earlier, I'm looking for a way to get to yes on the budget. I'm having a very difficult time understanding the doc fix and how that is really a fix, except for the one good thing about it is that instead of having a crisis every year, you fix it for a 10-year period or something like that. But it seems like at the same time that we're saying as Republicans that we're going to balance the budget in 10 years, we're going to add 120 or $30 billion to the deficit, and that seems incongruous to me. So I'm trying to figure out how this is a good deal. I understand that it's a cliff that we have to deal with every year, and that there is an argument that if you fix it now, then it costs us less than fixing it on a year-to-year basis. So I'm open to answers, but right now I'm not very excited about the bill.
Couple observations about that. Don't forget, this did come out of the 1997 Budget Act, and that again, this was supposed to solve some problems. It was put in there as probably looking back, they wish they hadn't put this in. It was considered small change back then, but from I believe 2000, 2001 on, what Congress has done is put off the cuts that were agreed to in 1997 as part of balancing the budget. So that's the history on that. But what we heard in conference this morning was interesting, that it was sold as a way to jam the Senate. That Nancy Pelosi and John Boehner were working together to jam the Senate. Now, I find that not very believable. Not that Nancy Pelosi really wants to jam the Senate in reference to this, but I find it very disagreeable that somehow a fix means we'll just add it to the debt. That's the fix. That's not a fix. That's the same old Washington way of doing things that has gone on under both parties for decades now. That's why we have 18 point whatever trillion dollars in debt, and the answer is we'll just do it again. That is not a fix. We expect more, and as I understand our rules, this is not permitted under our rules. They will have to violate the own rules of the House Republican Conference as imposed on the House in order to pass this so-called doc fix. So as it stands now, again, we haven't seen the bill, but as it presented to me, I don't think how it works with any conservative principles that I hold.
We need to see whether the accounting adds up. In Washington, usually the accounting has not added up. And when they're talking about the estimated cost of the fix, they're saying it's about $170 billion plus. But that's a 10-year cost. That's my understanding of it. The cost will extend into the future. When they talk about the savings, they always talk about how the savings will be great in the future, but the cost will also extend into the future. So we need to understand the accounting. We need reforms now, not reforms that are phased in many years down the road. And many of the changes that are being talked about are supposed to hit wealthier people. Does the accounting add up? Are there enough wealthy people to actually account for the entire SGR fix? Let's find out.
And the irony is that we're undoing a 1997 Budget Act with a new trick that is promising future savings. And that's what I'm concerned about. And what Justin just said, it seems like they're promising that the savings are going to come in the second decade, not in the first decade. But there's going to be costs associated with this in the second decade. So at a minimum, we should be honest with the American people. If what we're going to try to do is just undo the problem that we have with the doc fix, then just say that and just say you're going to add this much money to the deficit by doing this. Let's just be honest. I think that's why we have a 10% or whatever our current approval rating is that we make all these promises that we never follow through on. They made promises in 1997 that they were going to reduce the cost of Medicare by X amount. That never happened. They never actually it never went into place. And now we're making promises again that we're going to make reductions in the future. So at a minimum, if you just want to undo this 1997 act, then be honest with the American people and tell them, you know what, this is going to cost you so much. We're going to increase the deficit by this much money and the debt by this much money, but it's necessary for us to do it because that's the way that we can continue with the Medicare program.